Okay, this is a video I wanted to make quite a long time now because this camera is very special to me. So I said many times I've been shooting ever since I was like 10 years old, like on film cameras. I got one of these Fat 2s when I was like 10 from my dad, and I've been shooting all the time. And I used to love film and everything, but anyway, on my Instagram, lots of people contacting me for advice and just reach out to stuff, and some beginner photographers or hobbyists asking about what camera would you recommend to practice on, or many people fancy getting into film photography, and they're asking for recommendations or just in general chit chat. And I always tell them the same thing, and I know it's controversial, so don't shoot me down or anything, but I know for a fact shooting film is crazy expensive. Just to buy the film, get it developed. I know it has its magic and it's amazing, and I'm not saying that it is like shooting film, but just hear me out. So what if you just buy this camera? It's the Canon 5D Classic, or the Make one, made in 2005. This is a very basic camera, 12.8 megapixels, nothing fancy, no video. The shutter speed is it's not crazy fast. It's like, but it is still a professional grade camera. I don't care what kind of iPhone you have or what kind of APS-C camera you have. I'm very confident this is still on par, if not better still. It's insane. When they made this camera, it was one of the very first full frame cameras ever made, and I think the goal was then is that to attract the users from film to digital, because the digital was still in shaping up. Nobody really trusted it. I remember the times when people were having discussions about like, oh, digital, that's never gonna catch on. Digital is like, if you ever saw the first digital cameras came out, they are like, tricky. It was a very interesting time, but I didn't think I was shooting film. I didn't think I will buy a digital camera because it's never gonna catch on. And look at us. Anyway, this is still an insanely good camera. The body feels good, so good. It feels like any professional camera. It is still a professional grade camera. It's a magnesium alloy body, and I bought this extension grip so you can shoot portrait. Because so it's a smaller body, You don't need an extra battery, because if you just put one battery in there, that's more than enough for one day for you. But so you don't really need this. I just like it because I shoot portraiture, and it's just easier for me sometimes with the extra buttons and everything. So as I said, there is no video in this or anything, but and it's very limited. The back screen is people say it's quite dim and small screen, but I always tell people, just treat it like it's an old film camera, like a digital film camera. If you want to learn how to shoot, if you want to learn photography, like how to shoot manual, you get everything here what you need. You can change your ISO, you can change your shutter speed, and just get lost in the shooting. So basically you can just focus on creating and being in the moment. And I think this camera is I always think of it, and again, Leica people, don't shoot me down, but I always think of this as it's like my Leica, Leicas not the new ones obviously, but if you have like a Leica, the early digital ones or whatever, I bet anything that this is still better than any of those. Leica shines really with the glass, the lenses are insanely good. But I think this is, if you think of it as a film camera, 12.8 megapixels is still more than enough for anything. even if you want to print, like I don't think you're ever gonna print a picture larger than this camera could deliver. Obviously, I'm a professional shooter. I shoot portrait, fitness, and boudoir, and if I shoot, you know, for clients and paid work, obviously I take the Sonys most of the time, but this is always with me, and I still use it. And it is still surprising that how often the models are actually picking the pictures from this camera, especially if you're shooting strobes and studios and whatever. Then you don't really have limitations with this camera because you know, you get the lights. The only thing with the more modern Sony or whatever camera you use, you have the luxury of being, you can be more clumsy, so you can be much more lazy with the framing, because you know you have 48 or 60 megapixels to play with, so you can crop in 500 times, or you know, you can zoom in, and you still have a decent image, you know, like crazy. Like the new technology is crazy good, and it allows you to be much more clumsy, or much more, you can push the file much more. The dynamic range is much more, you know, professional. But this is still, if you know what you're doing, like if you just want to learn photography and get into photography, you can pick one up for 200 pounds, and it's a full frame professional camera. These are like weather sealed. I saw videos on YouTube, the guy was just thrown one into the freezer. It was frozen for like a week, defrosted it, wiped it off, and it was good to go. So this is like a bulletproof, like it looks like a toy, but this is like a solid solid badass camera. And what I didn't even talk about yet, the colors. Oh my god. So basically, when the legend has it, when Canon made this camera very first, the legend has it that they were working with Kodak. I don't know if it's true or not. They said that they were working with Kodak, and they tried to like mimic the Kodachrome colors, like the vintage, which I love like insane. So basically, when you go and shoot with this camera, because of the screen is it's not disappointing, it's good. It was more than enough back in the day. Just we are used to staring at screens, monitors, iPhones, iPads, whatever. Everything is super high res, and you can zoom in and touch whatever. On this there is nothing. It's just a tiny screen, no touch, nothing. It's just technology from 2005. So so you can't do really, you know, it's dated. But every time I go out shooting with this camera, like I don't know, every time I get home I always expect less, and I'm always surprised in a pleasant way. So more often than not, every time I shoot is like I come home and then, oh my god, I just love the colors, and I'm just like mind blown, because I didn't even think it would be that good. Like, even though I had this camera for like ages, like, you know, this camera always surprises me. Like when you have your Sony or any modern cameras, you know what you get. And yeah, it's the other thing. Like every time I shoot with a Sony, I don't really buzz. You know, I know it's a professional camera. I know it delivers the raw files out of the thing. It's insane, but I never really get excited about the colors, or I never really get excited about. It's just a good tool. Sony is just a really good tool, reliable tool. Like if you are shooting for a client, you know, and they are paying for you, and you don't have the luxury of, you know, playing around with stuff. Like you have to deliver, like no matter what. And more options better than not. So if you have like 46 megapixel or 42 or 60 megapixels to play with, then you know you can play with it, and that's that's the business side of it. But this one, I'm telling you, every time I shoot with this, it's just joy. Like honestly, it's like this feeling, like it is like a film camera. You just turn it on. Oh, I was gonna say this. It only has one CF card, which is larger than the SD, so you might need a different reader. And it's only one, so there's no backup. I know it's good to have two cards, but then again, my Sony has two cards, but I never really, lost any files. I just have it for extra insurance. Yeah. Because if you charge somebody a few grand for a shoot, you don't want to lose the files, even though you can recover it, but you don't want to. So it's new cameras are good and very safe and far outperform this camera. Like, I'm not saying that this is the like life-changing, the best thing since sliced bread. What I'm saying is that a modern camera you can buy for £2,000-3,000 or £10,000 or whatever money you throw at it, and it's gonna outperform this. But this is £200, and it's insanely good. Like, if you just getting into photography or just want an extra different kind of look in your repertoire, honestly, I'm not ever gonna sell it. And if I see one more for £200, I'd probably buy it just to have it, because this is still a pro grade camera. Like, I'm not a wedding shooter, I'm a portrait and fitness and boudoir photographer. Check out my Instagram and the website and see what's up. I would still, like, if I have, like, I don't know, I lost my Sonys or whatever, I would still be able to shoot pro grade jobs with this. Like, if I go to the seaside or whatever and shoot a model, and I don't tell them which files are coming from which folder, which camera, I'm telling you, like, if they have like 15 pictures to choose from one shoot, like 80% they will pick from this. This is not sharper, this is way smaller files and everything, but I don't know what it does, but somehow these pictures are just more appealing to the eye. And it's far less, it's just only 12.8 pixels, so it's not that many pixels, but this is, this strap is annoying me. This camera is still insane. So if you are just, if you don't know anything about photography and you really want to pick up on this film fashion that's buzzing now, which is insane. I love film, everything, medium format and whatever. But also, if you're not rolling in money, like if you just pick one up, turn off the screen, you can just practice, like, because many people don't really know Sony 16 or aperture or whatever, and if you want to learn all that on film, that's gonna be a pain in the ass and gonna hurt your wallet, and you will be disappointed a lot. But if you just, again, if you don't need video or anything, but if you just pick one up for like £150-200, you can pretend that this is a film camera, that, and it's a digital file, so you can go out and shoot with the knowledge in your head that you think is working, like how to set the correct exposure and everything, and then you can go out and shoot. And then once you learned, like once you know what you're doing with this, you can learn on it. Once you know what you want, once you go out shooting and you learn how to get the correct exposure more often than not, then I would advise you can buy film, because why would you spend so much money on film? I understand, unless if you're like super rich, but if you're just on a budget, and then it's a far easier way. Or even one of my ex-girlfriends, like she wanted to get into film shooting as well, and I told her, like, she didn't want to carry a camera. So basically what we did, like, there are different iPhone apps where you can emulate manual settings on a camera. So basically I was trying to explain her how to set the the ISO or shutter speed or whatever. So it's like, I know it's just a mimicking, but you can learn a lot on digital, so you have the concept in your head nailed, and then you save a lot of money with that, basically. And I mean, it's £200. What can you buy for £200? Like, not much. And this camera is still insanely good, and I just love the files out of this camera. It's I don't think it's actually Kodachrome. I don't know if the legend is true or not, but I don't think it's actually Kodachrome. It has a special vibe, like I mean, Kodak colors, I like them anyway, but this camera is very special. And if you don't like it for some reason, or you think like you need more, or you can always sell it for the money you bought it for, because it's £200. And if you look after it, I mean, mine is, I don't know, 10 years old at least, like super old. There is nothing on it. There is like no scratches, there is no marks. Like, I look after the stuff. So I might make a buying guide on this thing, because I think the earlier models of the 5D had an issue, and they had a recall because the mirror kept falling off. So basically, I don't know if you can see it, there is like a little bit of a reinforcement next to the mirror, so basically it holds the mirror in. Yeah, I might take a few pictures and I upload it in a video. There is like a, yeah. Anyway, this is a perfect camera, like for basic use, shutter speed, for portraitures, and I might upload a few videos, few pictures in this video to show you samples. But if you just go in any YouTube, just type in 5D, there will be many of pictures. Or if you go on a Flickr or Instagram or whatever, or even on my Instagram, I always tag what I use in the pictures. You can find plenty, thousands of exceptional images shot with this camera, even nowadays. So yeah, if this camera is not enough for you, like as a beginner, I don't know what to, like, this is still a professional camera, and believe it or not, since 2005 there is not that much change. You have internal image stabilization and eye tracking and whatever, but you know, you don't always need that. Like, it's a good to have, but you don't need it. If you, I mean, I think if you, it just have this kind of pure feeling with this camera, because the menu, even the menu is super simple. It's just one page, so you can get lost in settings or anything. It's really like, oh, I'm not even kidding, I always think of this as a Leica. Like, you just go out and there is nothing on it, nothing to it. You just set your settings. Everything is like, the ergonomics is insanely good. It feels, it looks plastic, but it feels, it got heft to it. You don't have to baby it. You just you don't even need a camera bag. You can just chuck it into your purse if you're a woman, or any kind of backpack or whatever. You don't have to baby this thing, honestly. This is a pro grade camera. Like, you can drop it or whatever. It's still gonna shoot. Yeah, this is very close to my heart, and I always talk so much about this camera that all my friends basically bought one. Yeah, this camera still gives you like a very pure kind of photography feeling. So basically, there are a few bad things about it. Not bad, but things you might miss, like, because it's so early, there is no auto ISO in the camera, so you have to set your own ISO all the time. So there is no, obviously no video as well, or yeah, or no time lapse or anything. The ISO, you can't really go crazy high with the ISO. You can go to like, I mean, 3200, or you can go to 1600. But even with my Sony's, like, I don't like to go high. I know you can, but because I'm a portrait guy, I always like to keep it around 100 or maximum 400 on my, even on my Sony's. Sometimes I go to as high as, you know, if you are in a situation and you have to get that shot, you go as high as you have to go to get the job done. So there is that. But if I have the option, and if I have strobes and whatever, I always try to keep it around 100. And this thing, I am comfortable to go. I don't think I ever went higher than 800, because I think the image starts to fall apart a little bit. It's not as bad as the iPhone pictures or whatever, because people say like, oh, 60 megapixel iPhone pictures or whatever. Yeah, but if you zoom in, like, or try to print or whatever, like, it's still garbage. Like, people, you know, good for social media or whatever, but if you actually try to do something with the picture or the file, they are still far behind. It's not pocket size, but still far behind it anyway. So yeah, I was gonna say, like, the ISO is not that you know, modern. But if you want to shoot it film anyway, then 800 should be more than enough. So yeah, yeah, pick one up and let me know what you guys think about it. And tag me on Instagram if you shoot with a 5D. I want to see what you guys creating with it. I'll put all the links in the description, and probably it will pop up on the screen somewhere. And yeah, I wanted to make this video for such a long time because this camera is just so close to my heart, and it is very special. You can even still shoot manual. You know, you can adapt lenses on it. Oh, I mean, I forgot to mention, but this is the original EF mount. So any Canon lens, full frame Canon lens, even the EFS ones, I think, even any EF lens from even the latest ones, like any EF lens, like you can buy the 85 1.2 Mark II, just slap it on and it does work. And I was gonna say this, like the better lenses you put on it, obviously better files you're gonna get. So if you have like if you are into Canon anyway and you have lenses, just pick one up extra and you're gonna have exceptional images. The colors out of this thing, the files alone, tiny, and I don't know how to say, but they are just they never disappoint. That's the thing. Yeah, well, thanks for watching. Like and subscribe and all the good stuff, and I will be back more frequently with more videos. I'm gonna make a series of my favorite lenses, Summicron and Summarit Leica lenses, or some very special lenses. I really want to talk about them, what their characteristics are. If you go on my Instagrams, you can see some posts of everything because I always tag them in the hashtags. So yeah, thanks for sticking around, and let me know what you guys think about this beast of a camera.